Imagine inventing a machine that could do your job 10 times faster, and then watching a mob destroy it because they were terrified of what it could do. That sounds like a story about AI. But it happened almost 200 years ago. His name was Barthélemy Thimonnier, and his invention would help lay the foundation for the modern sewing machine. In early 19th century France, making clothes was slow, exhausting work. Every stitch had to be made by hand. A skilled tailor could spend hours, or even an entire day, working on a single garment. There was no assembly line, no automated production. Just a person, a needle, some thread, and thousands of repetitive stitches. Thimonnier was a tailor himself, and like any craftsman, he knew exactly how difficult the work was. But instead of simply accepting it, he began asking a dangerous question. What if a machine could do the stitching for us? That question became an obsession. Thimonnier began experimenting with mechanical ways to reproduce the movements of a human hand. He worked with wood, metal, thread, and whatever materials he could get his hands on. And the early attempts were far from perfect. Parts jammed, threads broke, fabric tore, machines failed, again and again. But every failure gave him another piece of the puzzle. Eventually, he developed a working mechanical sewing machine. And this was the breakthrough. Instead of making every stitch manually, the machine could produce stitches mechanically and repeatedly. The potential was enormous. Imagine taking one of the most time-consuming parts of making clothing and turning it into a mechanical process. Thimonnier's invention attracted attention. Eventually, he received support to produce uniforms for the French military. A workshop was established. Multiple machines could operate together, and suddenly, clothing could be produced far faster than traditional hand sewing allowed. For Thimonnier, this looked like the beginning of something extraordinary, but for other tailors, it looked very different. They saw machines entering their industry. They saw productivity increasing, and they saw something else, a threat to their livelihoods. The fear was simple. If a machine could do the work faster, what would happen to the people whose entire lives depended on doing that work by hand? It was the same question workers would ask generations later about factory automation, computers, robots, and today, artificial intelligence. Fear turned into resistance, and resistance turned violent. In 1831, a group of Parisian tailors attacked Thimonnier's workshop. The machines were destroyed. The equipment was smashed. His business was devastated. The invention that had taken years of work to develop was nearly wiped out in a matter of minutes. Thimonnier was forced to leave. Think about that. He had created a machine capable of transforming an entire industry, and the industry itself had helped destroy it. But there was one problem. They could destroy the machines. They couldn't destroy the idea. Other inventors continued working on mechanical sewing. They improved the designs. They made the machines more practical. And eventually, sewing machines spread through factories and homes around the world. The technology transformed clothing production. Garments could be made faster. Factories could produce on a massive scale. And clothing gradually became cheaper and more accessible. Thimonnier didn't become the household name many later sewing machine pioneers became, but his work was part of the chain of inventions that helped make industrial sewing possible. And there's something strangely familiar about his story, because the fear he faced wasn't really about sewing. It was about technology replacing human labor. 2 centuries ago, people feared a machine that could sew faster than a human. Today, people are asking the same question about AI. What happens when a machine can write faster, analyze faster, design faster, code faster? The technology changes, the fear doesn't. But history offers an interesting lesson. New technology doesn't simply destroy the old world. It also creates an entirely new one. Thimonnier didn't live to see the full impact of the industrial transformation his work helped begin. But his basic idea survived. The machine survived, the industry changed. And today, billions of garments are produced using technologies that trace their roots back to pioneers like him. All because one tailor looked at a simple problem and asked a question that seemed almost impossible at the time. If a human hand can do this, why can't a machine? That question didn't just change sewing. It helped change the way the world works.